So, do you remember the news that Google was going to come out with their own desktop operating system, basically, when the government was filed that antitrust, when that antitrust case was open and in process versus Google for the antitrust? There was a news that came out because one of the things we thought that was going to happen is Google was going to have to sell off Chrome. Well, Google was going to kind of replace that with like an operating system that is basically based on Android. So it'll be like Apple's iOS. Just think of it that way, where you got iOS for your phone, but you got basically iOS, macOS for desktop, but it all integrates perfectly, right? Well, Google's kind of walking down that road, and today we got word that Google's new quote-unquote Aluminium OS project brings Android to PC, and here is what we know. So Google wants to replace ChromeOS. That's there. If you buy a Chromebook, the operating system that comes on the Chromebook is ChromeOS. Well, Google's going to replace ChromeOS with this Aluminium OS, which is basically going to be their name for Android for desktop. Now, the cool thing about this is it'll look very similar to your Android device that you're using right now, or Pixel device that you're using right now. And it's going to have the full Google Play Store, App Store available. So you can basically have a desktop-like experience and or still download and or have the full App Store open for usage. Now, we don't know what processor they're going to use on Google's new laptop. So about a month ago, 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, Google announced that they're going to make their own laptop. So they're bringing back, do you remember the Pixelbook? It's basically going to be like the Pixelbook, but it's going to be a new refreshed version. So it's going to be Google's own. It'll be like the MacBook Air or MacBook is to Apple. Google's going to be pushing their new laptop-like experience with this new Aluminium OS running on that laptop. We don't know if they're in talks with Intel. We don't know if they're in talks with AMD. What I expect is Aluminium OS to be brought to the public on this new Google laptop, I believe with a Snapdragon CPU. I think they want to go with an ARM-based processor moving into the future just because the battery life is freaking awesome. And it's sort of similar and or like what Apple's doing with their MacBook with their M series chips. Google's going to be going down that road. However, I don't know if they're going to be putting a Tensor processor in these laptops. Let's hope not. Let's hope they go with the Snapdragon route in the ARM chipset. But we do now have a name for the new operating system, and I believe we can expect that new Pixel, I don't know what they're going to call it, to Google laptop. It's going to be released next year, this time next year for the holidays. So they're hard at work at putting this new device out. I cannot wait because I'm definitely going to get one. It looks to be fantastic. It's going to have really good specs. It'll at least have 16 gigs of RAM, probably base 256 going up to probably 1 terabyte. So it's going to have good specs. I'm sure it'll have a great display. We just don't know. As time goes on, we get a little more information like we do here with this Aluminium OS. I don't know what the laptop's going to be called. Is it going to be the Pixelbook? I don't know. Is it going to be the Google Book? I don't know. But we do know that their new version of Android for desktop is going to be called Aluminium OS.